So today's topic is the word work. And it's probably not surprising to you. As I was preparing for yesterday's mystic meeting about the role of play, very naturally, I was finding when I was looking at the etymology that many of the ways the word play has been used could be correlated to the word work. And yet, at the same time, in our understanding, at least how I hear most people speak of it, I won't say everybody, I won't say you, I can say I have from time to time, that there is oftentimes a pitting of work and play as though they're two different things. And we use those words for two different things. We use oftentimes the word work to connote what we must do or what we are committed to do. And we use the word play as the way we will spend our time when we don't have to work. Note the word have there, that's pretty operative here. And oftentimes, especially in the American culture, you will find that, and influenced by the Protestant work ethic and lots of other things, there is a sense with work that go these words: duty, responsibility, productivity, accomplishment of goals. And with the word play, oftentimes there are words such as spontaneous, not having responsibility, not being obliged to do anything in particular, not accomplishing anything. Now, in tonight's mystic meeting, I'm going to go a little more deeply into play, but I wanted to shine a light on work. This series for this 6 weeks has been called The Pathless Path. And that's a very powerful realization as we evolve, as we grow into wholeness, is the discovery that our path, as it grows in an inner certainty, also grows simultaneously with an uncertainty. That all we thought we knew falls away, and in a mysterious way, we seem to know even more. So this last 2 weeks is going to be a very specific focus on aspects of our path that get unraveled as we walk the pathless path. And today is one of those topics: work. When you think of the word work, and I'm inviting you to a little optional homework. Get that? When you think of the word work, what is the connotation? If you had to give like 3 or 5 words that described work to you, what would it be? Would it be situational? For instance, I go to an office and that's my work. I come home and that's my home. I go play tennis and that's where I play. Is it situational? Or is it a descriptor? Work is what I'm obliged to do to survive. Play is what I hope to do with my time. How might you situate your relationship with your word work? For instance, I would situate it for me, this is completely subjective, that when I reflect on the word work, work is for me usually that energy that requires a certain degree of effort. And play is that energy which is effortless. Now, when I pulled up the etymology of work, we get some similarities with play because work is actually movement. It's actually exerting energy into something, just like play was yesterday. Work has a connotation of, even when we're an artist, we have a labor that happens. we have a sense of inertia that's applied to something very specific. Now, where we might differ with that is sometimes play may not have a specific outcome other than just being open and spontaneous. But even that, isn't that in a way a certain outcome, whether it's defined as a goal I'm reaching or whether it's defined as a descriptor of what is happening? And when you do this optional reflection, does your use of the word work open your heart, or does it contract you? Does your use of the word work lead you towards even a sense of courage or rising up into or commitment to, no matter what the cost? Is it life-giving to you, the use of the word work? I know when I invite people to share about their lives, I've tried to take the word work completely out of my language, because in America, it's been shown through research that one of the common questions we do when we meet people is we say, "What do you do?" And what we're pointing to is, what do you do for a living? Or what do you do as your career or your work? And I've tried to take that completely out of my parlance because it's such a narrow way to get to know a person. Now, when we're doing what we're called to do, when we're in the flow of everything we're meant to do, then referring to our work, if you will, can be really helpful, but not in the tonality of work, more in the tonality of what I use the word service, offering, ministry. But how can the use of the word work remain in your parlance, but have a different connotation, and one that is not pitted against play? I know it came up in our mystic meeting yesterday that play is, children are allowed to play, but then they're called to be responsible and begin to work. Now, wow, what a tremendous need that we go through as human beings in the healing process to discover again the innate curiosity that leads us to live spontaneous, free, dynamic, and creative lives. And a way that I find that I learned in the monastery of situating the word work was that in the monastery, we were called to one thing, and that was to be the embodiment of the divine work. And all of our chanting, well, not all of it, but a large amount of it was coming from a Catholic understanding of the Opus Dei, that when we participated in chant, it was actually the word of God participating through us in accomplishing its end of union with all things. Now, isn't that an interesting way to situate the word work? That work is a participation in the movement of the divine, accomplishing its longing and desire for union with all. Whether you use the word God or not, but Opus Dei. And I loved that. That gave me great solace. One of the reasons it gave me solace is I learned early on in my late teens, I learned that I had a really, really hard time with traditional work. I mean, literally, I remember I did a ton of waitressing in high school, and I loved the action of waitressing, the hospitality, the connecting with people, the remembering things that they ordered, the service part, the hubbub, the community. I loved all of that. But I remember noting that when it would come time for me to go and clock in to go be the waitress, and usually you start your shift at like 3 p.m. So nobody's really there when you start your shift. They usually come for dinner starting at 5. And I remember about 2 p.m., I would start to feel, honestly, a little depressed. It would be kind of like this. My energy would be like flying along, and all of a sudden the realization that I'm going to have to get in my car and drive someplace and punch a time card, and I'd start to go, "Meow." with my energy. And I had to gear myself up. I had to stoke myself up to go to work. And then once I punched the time card, I'd be all in, the surrender would be there. And soon I would forget all about the reality that I had punched a time card. But there was something about that construct that I was obliged to clock in and clock out, and that my life wasn't this organic, spontaneous movement of creativity. It really bothered me. Now, part of that was being Aries. Part of that was being a creative and an entrepreneurial spirit, which was the heart of it. Part of it was being an immature teenager. Part of it was a healthy reaction to society's way to put people in boxes. And the Industrial Revolution kind of systematized things that reduced us into workhorses. So there was a tapestry of helpful and not so helpful motives there. But what I discovered was that if I could live my passion, man, I wouldn't just work 40 hours a week, I'd work 80 hours a week and not even feel it. So how can you allow on your pathless path that word work that interpenetrates our society? How can it be reframed for you? And where does it contract you? Where is it a part of your life that forms a sense of kind of like a stranglehold, like I'm obliged to do this till I retire feeling? Maybe that is part of your lifestyle. Maybe you have made choices that are leading you into a construct like that, but it doesn't need to be your Lord and Master. And what can be a way that you can flip it on its head? Now, if you're here on this call, you've already done that to a great degree, because you wouldn't be interested in meditation if you weren't already in the mode of walking in presence and being presence. So kudos to you for giving that yes to yourself. But it's nice to work with these words. And I mean work by way of a little bit of effort there. Take the energy to pull it apart a little bit and notice what's serving you and what's not serving you. Lenten inspired meditation. Lent in the traditional sense is a preparation for new life. And what we're doing here is we're applying a little bit of effort and exertion into dismantling the unconscious ways we allow our beliefs, in this situation work, to constrain us in life, instead of, or so that we can step into being wild and live wildly creative, with systems, with lists, with goals, with all of that. We're not throwing it all out the window and going to live out of our vans, unless you really want to. That's not the reason. That's not the reason for the inquiry here. The inquiry is so that we can examine and change and let go and renew in relation to the beliefs that we have, so that we live a liberated life, so that the choices that we make are in alignment with our soul's purpose. And here we've got an inquiry on work. So today's meditation is going to be a combination. We're going to do a very brief quantum jump. That is, and I'm going to use the higher self as a doppelganger. So you're going to identify an aspect of yourself that you see as playing creatively. We're going to play in this as playing creatively. And we're going to move away from this workhorse mentality that can constrain us. So we're going to step from any ways, consciously or unconsciously, you contract into a liberated way of being. But when we're in that space, we're going to do a very simple mantra, and it's a very, very simple tone. And the mantra is super simple. It's Om Mahalakshmi Namaha. And it's a very simple tone. In fact, I'm just going to start toning it when we begin doing the mantra, and you'll jump in. Now, as many of you know, Om, universal consciousness, Maha, opening the heart to, Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance, Namaha, we bow to this reality. And what you're going to do is you're bowing to yourself. You are remembering the part of you that is the Lakshmi energy, the abundant energy. And then we're going to bring our meditation to a close. So hopefully that sounds fun to you. It sounds fun to me. All right. So I invite you to close your eyes. With your eyes closed, I'm going to slowly count backwards from 10 to 1. And as I do so, you're going to allow yourself to relax. And in your relaxing, you're going to experience the release and the allowing of what in your mind or heart or body might be taking you away from the present moment. We're just letting ourselves release, shed, surrender whatever holds us from the present moment. And as we move from 10 to 1, we're going to come into a place of simplicity. And in that simplicity, even if the mind and the heart and the body move and have some activity, it's okay. We're not identified with that. It simply happens, simply goes about its way, but it's not the you that we're coming into contact with. So let yourself relax and enjoy sitting where you sit. And very slowly let these numbers pull you or allow you to descend to the center of your presence. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. To allow the energetic aspects of your being to open and connect and expand. Place the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth and press very lightly. And release. Bring the focus to the top of your head and let the skull, and the brain, and the forehead relax with every breath. Your focus moves slowly downward. Your face relaxes, your eyes, your jaw. The back of your head relaxes with every breath. The neck relaxes. The shoulders falling slightly downward. releasing all they hold. The arms, the elbows, the wrists, and the hands. All relaxing like two puddles as your hands sit upon your lap or a chair. The chest, the heart, the lungs, the back, all relax. The mid-back, diaphragm, the upper internal organs, all relaxing with the breath. Slowing, coming to a place of rest. The abdomen, intestines, the sexual organs, the low back, all relaxing into a pleasant, quiet state. The hips, the butt, the base of the spine, the legs and the knees. The calves, the ankles, and the feet. Your entire physical body is moved into a state of receptive, quiet relaxation. And in this state, you are free. You are free. Free to step into yourself as abundant and playful and spontaneous. To do so, imagine or sense that you are standing now before a door. And on the other side of this door will be your doppelganger, will be the high self that is spontaneous and free. Stand before the closed door. And when I count to 3, you will open the door and move through the doorway to observe your high self. 1, 2, 3. Through the doorway, you are out in this limitless place. Observe your high self that is abundant, spontaneous, playful, and free. And enjoy this observation. And now, your high self invites you to merge. Move from observation to merging with this version of yourself that is playful, spontaneous, free, creative, abundant. And feel yourself in this limitless space. Having merged, stay here and join me in toning our mantra. To energetically amplify this merging with your high self, this self that is you. Inviting in a breath. Om Mahalakshmi Namaha. 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 And we sit in a moment, enjoying ourselves, each of us, in the state that we are now in. Now I invite you on the count of 3 to see yourself move through the doorway back to the other side so that you come and integrate your high self into all areas of your life. 1, 2, 3. See yourself on the other side of the doorway, grounded in the here and the now. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. And when you are ready, bring your palms together in front of your heart and open your eyes with Namaste. Namaste, my friends. Hope you enjoy walking in the energetics of that true self that you are, spontaneous, free, full of play in all that you do. I will look forward to seeing some of you tonight.